Welcome back to StoryRealm, the place where we bring you powerful real-life stories that inspire, teach, and sometimes change the way you see the world. So before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and like this video so you never miss the next inspiring tale. Now, today's story is one that I believe every single person needs to hear at least once in their life. It's about a man with no money, no power, and no special resources, but who still managed to transform an entire community with something everyone else thought was useless. And I promise you, the ending will stay with you long after this video ends. Let's begin. Somewhere far from the tall buildings and busy streets of the city, there lies a small, forgotten village called Katembe. Life here was slow, simple, and hard. Most people worked as small farmers, planting maize and beans when the rains came, and hoping the harvest would be enough to survive until the next season. Children ran barefoot on dusty roads. Goats wandered freely between houses made of mud and tin sheets. When the sun set, the whole village glowed faintly under the weak light of kerosene lamps. Electricity was rare, and even when it came, it didn't stay long. But there was another thing this village had, something not beautiful at all. Something that grew year after year. Trash. Plastic bags clung to bushes like ghosts. Empty bottles floated in the little stream that ran past the school. Old car tires, rusted metal, torn clothes, all piled up in corners, forgotten and rotting. And this wasn't just ugly. It was dangerous. Mosquitoes bred in stagnant rainwater trapped in cans. Goats sometimes ate plastic and died. Children played near piles of waste without knowing the risks. In the middle of this village lived Mr. Daniel, a primary school teacher. He was in his early 40s. Tall, with a kind smile that could calm even the most restless child. But Daniel's life was not easy. He earned barely enough to feed his family. The school where he taught had cracked walls, broken desks, and leaking roofs. Sometimes, he had to teach his students under a tree because the classroom was too damaged to use. There were no enough books. No chalk. No proper blackboard. And yet, every morning, he showed up. He believed that if the children of Katembe could learn, they could have a better future. But how could they learn in an environment like this? Every week, Daniel noticed something. The pile of trash near the school kept growing. People threw their waste there because they had nowhere else to put it. No garbage trucks ever came to Katembe. No recycling centers existed. He worried about the children's health. He worried about the smell, the flies, the mosquitoes. And yet, nobody seemed to care. The elders said, "It's always been like this. What can we do?" The young people said, "It's not our problem." But Daniel couldn't ignore it. He thought to himself, if this trash can destroy us, maybe it can also save us. One day, Daniel traveled to the nearest city for a teacher's training workshop. In one session, the presenter showed a short documentary about recycling. In the video, people were turning empty plastic bottles into bricks, old tires into playground swings, and scrap metal into art. Daniel leaned forward in his chair. His mind began to race. On the bus ride back home, he looked out of the window at the passing fields and thought, we have all of that waste in Katembe. We have bottles, tires, cans, everything. If they can turn it into something useful, why can't we? That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept imagining classrooms built from bottles, gardens growing in recycled containers, children playing on swings made from old tires. He decided to try. The next morning, he picked up a bag and started collecting plastic bottles from the streets. He filled each bottle with sand until it became hard like a brick. He called these eco-bricks. Using a few tools, he began building a small wall outside his home, just to test the idea. People laughed. "The teacher has gone crazy," they said. "Building with trash? Who will send their children to study in a trash house?" But Daniel kept working. Every day after school, he collected more waste. Slowly, his little test wall grew stronger. He brought the idea to his students. he told them, "If you bring me bottles filled with sand, I'll give you pencils, books, or snacks." The children loved it. Some even brought their friends to help. Months passed. With enough eco-bricks, Daniel and the children built one small classroom wall at the school. Then another. They repaired a broken desk using wood from old furniture. They made a swing set from 2 old tires. They painted the walls with bright colors, using leftover paint from a construction site in the city. People began to notice. Parents who once ignored the school started to help. Mothers brought bags of trash from their homes. Fathers offered to carry sand or mix cement. Soon, the trash problem began to disappear. And the school began to grow. But just when everything seemed to be working, disaster struck. One night, heavy rain and strong winds destroyed part of the new eco-brick classroom. Half the wall collapsed. Daniel's heart sank. Some people said, "We told you it wouldn't last." Funds were running out. The children were discouraged. And to make matters worse, Daniel fell ill from exhaustion. For weeks, he couldn't work. The project seemed dead. Then, one afternoon, there was a knock on his door. It was Sarah, a shy little girl from his class. She looked up at him and said softly, "Teacher, if you stop, where will we go to learn?" Those words lit a fire in Daniel's heart. He returned to work, slowly at first. The children helped rebuild the wall. Neighbors donated what they could. Then, an NGO working in the region heard about the project. They visited the village, saw the eco-brick classrooms, and were amazed. They provided new desks, books, and even hired 2 more teachers. They also trained the villagers on waste management and composting. Within a year, Katembe became known as the village that turns trash into treasure. Today, the school has more students than ever before. The village is cleaner, healthier, and more united. And it all started because one man refused to ignore a pile of trash. Mr. Daniel often says, "You don't need a lot to change the world. You just need to start where you are, with what you have." Friends, if this story touched your heart, please like this video, it really helps the channel. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe and click the bell so you won't miss the next one. And here's your challenge, look around your own community. What is the trash in your life, something others see as useless? Could you turn it into hope, just like Mr. Daniel? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.